Here we have another problem. Let's first clean this equation up by dividing through by -2. That will give us x squared plus 7x minus 5/2 is equal to 0. Now in order to complete the square, we want to move the constant term to the right hand side of the equation. So we will have x squared plus 7x blank is equal to 5/2. There's no leading coefficient anymore. Let's cut the 7 in half to a 7/2 and square to a 49/4. Since we've added 49/4 to the left, we need to add 49/4 to the right hand side of the equation. Now we can insert our x, our parentheses, and our square symbol to complete the square. And we want to combine the terms on the right together. We want a common denominator of 4, so 5/2 will be equal to 10/4. And now we can add together and see 59/4. Square rooting each side, we get x plus 7/2 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 59/2. After the 4 square roots, we get a 2. And we have a common denominator on each side, and we can rewrite this all over 2 as -7 plus or minus the square root of 59 all over 2. And those will be the values in our solution set. Solve using the quadratic formula. First, we need to get it into a form in which we can use the quadratic formula. We will distribute on the left and bring the 34 to the left-hand side. This will give us m squared plus 10m plus 34 is equal to 0. Now, to begin the quadratic formula, let's start with the discriminant, b squared minus 4ac. That gives us 10 squared minus 4 times 1 times 34, which is 100 minus 136, giving us -36. Since we see a negative value for the discriminant, we know that there will be two imaginary solutions to this equation. Continuing along, instead of x equals, we have m equals -b plus the square root of what we just found, the -36, all over 2a. M then is equal to -10 plus or minus 6i all over 2 times 1, which is 2. We will want to factor and cancel. We notice a 2 will divide into the numerator, so 2 times -5 plus or minus 3i all over 2, in which those 2's will cancel, and we will have -5 plus or minus 3i. And those will be the values that go into our solution set, -5 plus and minus 3i. Solve using the quadratic formula. Again, we're going to want to clear the fractions by multiplying through by the least common denominator, which is 6. This will give us 2x squared minus 7 is equal to 9x. We then want to set this equal to 0. Subtracting the 9x from each side gives us 2x squared minus 9x minus 7 is equal to 0. This is the form which we want to begin with when we use our discriminant and the quadratic formula. Here we go. b squared minus 4ac. b squared, that's -9 squared, which is 81, minus 4 times 2 times -7. That becomes plus 8 times 7, which is 56. And together we get 137 as the value of the discriminant. X now is equal to -b plus or minus the square root of 137 all over 2a. And then x will equal negative of the -9, which is 9, plus or minus the square root of 137 all over 2 times 8. 2 times 2 becomes 4. So that would be our solution. We could also write this in a plus or minus b, well, I can't say a plus or minus bi form. So let's just go straight to our solution set of 9 plus or minus the square root of 137 all over 4.